we're going to hear from keynote speaker. Laura Caldwell comes to us as a graduate of Communication Studies at the University of Iowa. She's now Distinguished Scholar in Residence at Loyola Law School. Her career melds law and writing, both novels and nonfiction. On Monday at 4 in the afternoon, she's going to grace the Iowa Nonfiction Writing Program with a public talk on her forthcoming book, Unlikely. It tells how she helped free a man who was denied a trial for 6 years. So when we think we have habeas corpus in this country domestically, we're not necessarily always right. Her latest thriller is called, that's already in print, is called The Good Liar, and given what I do, which is to study political film and political advertising, perhaps I should add that this is not a book about the art of presidential campaigning. Laura.
We were joking about not being able to notice when people in the audience can't hear you, so I'm asking, can you guys hear me back there? Okay. Well, thank you, John, and thanks to Jane Van Voorst for getting me back to Iowa City. This is like one of my favorite places in the world. I love Iowa City. I love the University of Iowa. I'm going to love it even more when we beat Wisconsin tomorrow. But as John was lovely enough to show me around the facility and tell me about the honors program, and it kind of occurred to me that it seems like what the honors program is doing for you guys is not only telling you what's available from University of Iowa, or what's available to you from your academic life. It seems to me that it's sort of showing you or giving you glimpses of what's available to you from your life in general. And I think if you probably won't even be able to know, if you sit here today and think about what your life might hold for you as you guys move through college and maybe on to whatever you're going to do, literally I don't think you can even imagine what you might do. And I want you to really keep an open mind both with your classes, with any kind of thought of what you might do with your life, because really you have such limitless potential. I mean, you guys have such amazing potential. I was thinking about, when people used to tell me this when I was in college, like, you can do anything you want, and I think, well, is that really accurate? I like basketball a lot. I mean, what if my passion lied in basketball? Could I just, just decide where your passions lie and go for it, and you can do anything, and it always seemed too simple. Yeah, what if I wanted to be in the NBA? I mean, when I went to college, there wasn't even a WNBA. So I'm female, I'm short, I'm not big. I do shoot free throws about as well as Shaquille O'Neal. I think about basketball, not very well. So that whole concept of just sort of decide what you want and find your passion and do it, and everything will be okay, always made me a little uncomfortable. But as I got out into the world, it turns out that there have been some goals in my life that were just about as attainable as me being in the NBA. To give you a little background, when I went to University of Iowa, I did graduate Phi Beta Kappa from this university, but I got my worst grade in rhetoric, so creative writing. I went to Loyola Law School and got my worst grade in legal writing. And I graduated with honors from Loyola, but just got a terrible grade in legal writing. So as I went on to my law career, the potential of me being a law professor who writes novels for a living was about as likely as me playing for the NBA. I mean, I got terrible grades, I've never been a writer in my life, I wasn't one of those people who always wanted to do it. But about a year after I got out of law school, I was a litigator. I was representing doctors who were sued. And I was just wanting to read a book, get something kind of new. I was standing in a bookstore, and I had taken a trip the year before, like a backpacking trip with my buddies, to Rome and Greece. And it had been very fun, and I kept thinking as I stood in this bookstore, what if there was a book about someone who went on vacation to Rome and Greece, backpacking, and what if this vacation changed her whole life? And I kept looking through the shelves and was not finding anything. And the thought occurred to me, you know what? I'm just going to write that book. Literally, having gotten the worst grade in rhetoric, never being a writer, I bought a notebook instead of a book. And I went home and I started making notes. And I started taking writing classes. It was just something, it was literally just a hobby. It was something to just, it was making me happier. It was making me more content as a lawyer because I had this thing on the side that was a passion. I thought it was so amazing to put words together and to craft a story and to delete things and take it out and shine the light on certain parts of someone's character. It was just a blast. And I remember I was at my law firm. I was eventually a partner at a law firm, and I remember being in a hallway. We were about to go on trial, so it was this very intense time for litigation. And I remember thinking, this is too much. I wish I could just be a law professor and then write books. But literally, a lot of people ask me, if you want to sell a book, how do you do it? And if you're writing novels, you have to finish it first, then you look for an agent, and that agent will hopefully then sell you to a publisher. Well, I had finished my book by this point. I had finished this book called Burning the Map, about a woman who goes to Rome and Greece with her girlfriends, and everything changes in her life. And I was taking it to agents and saying, hey, could you? And everyone was, no. I mean, I literally have, they talk about the file folders of rejection letters. I have so many. But again, it was something I had a passion for. I loved to write, and it was making me happier. Then I had this thought about being a law professor, and I looked into it, and I realized you have to publish, legal publishing. I can't do, again, just completely unobtainable. But I started looking into it a little more. I wrote some law review articles. I started to get published in the legal world, and I just kept writing my novels because it was making me happy. And it was so strange because the whole thing came full circle in 1 year. And this was years and years after I started. So probably I was out of 8 years after I was out of law school. I kept going to the local law schools and, can I teach legal writing? Because I've educated myself at this point now. And everyone kept saying, no. And finally, someone quit, on that day. And I happened to call. And all of a sudden, this woman said, we're going to give you a shot. You can teach legal writing. And about 6 months later, I was at a writer's conference, because again, now I was on to my second novel. It was just this thing that I did have a passion for, that I had a gut instinct that, I don't know, that either because I enjoyed it enough it was worth it, or maybe someday it would come around. And I met a woman, an editor at a cocktail party, and she said, we're looking for urban fiction about women, cool women, young women. And I told her about my book. Months later, she called me on the phone and said, we want to buy your novel. And once you have a book deal, it's fairly easy to get an agent. So all of a sudden I had an agent, and all of a sudden, within 18 months of that time, that agent had sold 7 books for me. Most of them on proposal. Those 7 books are now out. I have a trilogy coming out next summer. And this is, I think being an English professor, we'd agree, sometimes writers have to just dig deep. They tell you to write what you know, but sometimes you have to just really, go for something different. So my mystery series next summer features a sassy, redheaded lawyer from Chicago who likes football, who went to the University of Iowa. And the first one is Red Hot Lies, and it's kind of amazing what they're doing. They're putting these all out all in the summer. They're saying it's a red hot summer. And then I've got this book coming out about this young man I represented in the murder trial that John spoke of. And starting in January, I'm a distinguished scholar in residence at Loyola University. So literally, guys, me standing here and talking to you and saying, I'm a novelist, I have 7 published books, 4 more coming out, and I'm a distinguished scholar in residence at Loyola, where I teach legal writing and international law. This is as unlikely as me, shooting around, playing with Shaquille O'Neal. It is literally unlikely, and the only reason why I'm here is because I sort of kept my mind open to the possibilities. So I think that's what the honors program is doing for you guys, and I would encourage you to really just keep your head open. You don't have to be a natural at something. Clearly, I was not a natural writer or a natural legal writer. But you don't have to be a natural at something. It doesn't have to, your parents don't have to say, oh, she was always artistic. It doesn't matter. Keep your mind open. If you've got a gut instinct, go with it. At the very least, it'll just make you happy. It'll be a hobby that makes you happy, and that is fine in life. And who knows, maybe it'll take you to the NBA. So here's to you guys. Congratulations on the honors program anniversary. And I just want to say, you guys, your generation is so unbelievable and so incredible, and you have so much opportunity. You guys are gonna knock it out of the park. I want all of you to email me and tell me what you end up doing with your lives, because I'm sitting in the front row and I wanna know. So, here's to you, and go Hawks, let's win tomorrow.